Is this better?
No, have the light on.
No, it's live, Bets.
Have it on?
All right. Yeah.
Is this
You're
better?
good. You're good. That's all right. Hello,
We're live.
everybody. Welcome to Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. We're so glad you could hang out with us today. Today we have a really amazing show with our guests, Brian Bland and Christina Schwind, that Teresa brings in the most amazing people, as we always say. She is definitely attracting her tribe every single day. And it's so cool to see her be able to show up this way and invite these people in to, introduce to all of you and share their amazing gifts and abilities. We ask you to share it out, take a few minutes just to share this out with your friends, invite people on. So we will announce the winners of last week's Share It Out and this week's Share It Out at the end of the show. We have 2 winners to announce. So we're excited to share that. So make sure you stay tuned. And whoever shares out the most this week wins with Rhonda. So you get a healing session with Rhonda. So make sure you share it out. And Teresa, can you tell us about our guest, please?
I would love to. And I'd also like to dedicate this show to Susan, your girlfriend, Brian. Sending her all of our love. And we're with you, Susan. We understand. So anyway, today's going to be a great show. And I cannot get my sage to light. The humidity here is so thick today in Tennessee. So I'm trying to send sage to everyone. Come on in and let's have a lot of fun. We have Brian Bland, who, without Brian, I would have never realized that some of the things that have happened to me have been Sasquatch related. And so he's someone who has this really unique way of communicating with the Sasquatch. And then we have Christina. Gosh, I wrote it down in the thing, but who's like this amazing acceleration mentor and stuff. When I watch her, she blows me away with the information that she brings in. And she has unique side to share with us about Sasquatch today. So we're going to have a lot of fun today, you guys. But first of all, there's a lot been going on in the world. And that's what makes this information from Sasquatch today very valuable, because there's take the vaccine, don't take the vaccine, wear the mask, don't wear the mask, black, white, red, blue. There's so much going on that even the most high vibe light worker has got to be writing on ups and downs. One minute it's like, yeah, I see the big picture, this is all cool. The next minute, oh my God, what's going on in the world? So I'm going to make it like a panel. I'm going to ask each one of you on YouTube X how you've been dealing with this. So that's the first question. Brian, how has this 2000 been writing on you?
I wanted to copy you guys a little bit. Did I freeze up or?
Yeah, no, I still hear you.
Okay.
You're good. I can hear you.
Yeah. Keep going. It'll show up.
How am I coping with it? Well, up and down. Yeah, it's frustrating because, to me, it's so obvious what's going on. And no disrespect, it's a touchy subject, but I mean, the Black Lives Matter, I think, obviously everybody wants to be treated equally and and equity and whatever. And, we're all connected anyway. So we really shouldn't be judging on something as stupid as skin color or even, the boxes we put up of behaviors or religions or politics or all that stupid stuff that doesn't matter. We shouldn't be judging on that. But it's so frustrating because, to me, they're just being manipulated to keep us, division. So It's like they want togetherness. Well, but it's just causing division, and it's just like, can't you see that? And it's just like, so I've kind of been out of character, and normally I rise above that or whatever, and I'm kind of on that vibration where I know where you can't touch me or whatever. Not always, but quite often. But this has kind of been bringing me up and down, and I even actually a couple friends dropped me on Facebook because of it, because it's such a touchy subject, right?
Absolutely.
So it's
it's a time for compassion, though. You know what I mean? I feel that we need to be really jumping into compassion for each other rather than Christina, how's it been treating you? How have you been going through all this?
Oh, I wasn't done yet.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Brian.
And the other thing is, just quickly, is, like, no matter what, I think that this erasing your history and whatever, like, that's what China did when Chairman Mao came in. He started taking all the statues down and whatever, and then look, then communist China was born, right? It's kind of like it's what's happened. It's the same story kind of being repeated. I think if you don't have a nation without a history has no future, is what Winston Churchill said. And it's you have to have your history, even if it's a bad history, just so that you can remember your history, so that you don't repeat it if you're smart enough not to. So there I go.
Awesome. Christina?
Yeah, so the up and down thing. I've been riding the waves like everybody else. We each have our own unique relationship to the challenges, of course. I do hear a lot of people saying compassion, but it seems like there's a lot of humans that are confused about what authentic compassion is, because it's not about being nice. It's about really seeing someone and accepting their perspective and who they are, and they have, and having compassion for where they are, and also with yourself in relationship to that. So I've been faced with that head on over and over again. And I deeply, deeply value now the, and I can cry when I say this, the mentorship of the Sasquatch, the ones that I'm in communication with, because they have a perspective that's not in the drama. And they are, and they talk about unity, and how do you have unity when everybody is really angry and upset and highly charged, right? And so I get a lesson on how to listen. So with that, they help me hold space within myself, so I can just listen and really understand what is happening on the other side of the fence. And so it's challenging. It really is, because there's things that people believe in, like, the vax, not vax, the masking, not masking is super highly charged, the BLM. I mean, of course, Black Lives Matter. I do feel like it's a tool to manipulate people, but that aside, they've helped me a lot in just holding the space to understand the other side of the fence. And that has brought me a lot of peace. And so, of course, it's always up and down. It's like, and this is how transformation is. It's like the pressure, the anxiety, the intensity builds, and you have a breakthrough. If you're being honest with yourself, if you're being sincere and truthful with what's happening inside, when it builds and it bursts, you have a breakthrough that takes you somewhere else where you weren't before, where you're even more present, you're even more conscious. You know what I mean? You're even showing up for yourself and other people. So because I have that experience, I understand that this intensity has its place in the transformation of things. So that's pretty much where I'm at with that. Like, I'm riding the waves. I have my breakthrough. I get it, like maybe a day, if I'm lucky, or 2 days of total gratitude and peace and contentment. And then the next stage happens.
Oh, yeah. Wow, it's true. And so Rhonda would be with us normally, but she's traveling. She's been in Mount Shasta doing some amazing spiritual work that we can't wait to hear about. And right now she's watching with all of us, with all of you today, in a train station. So
I'd like to wave to her, but I'm frozen.
Oh yeah,
we'll wait for you.
Yeah, we'll wait for you. Hey Rhonda, love you. So
I'm waving. Yeah. I am.
I put you over to the comments now. I didn't see them before.
You look so serious and ready to go. So that picture's good for you right now.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. Oh well, whatever.
It's Mercury retrograde. Go for the ride.
Oh, are we in a retrograde?
We are. Yeah. Yep, until July 12th. So technology is fun right now.
Fun. Okay.
Yes.
So Bex, how have you been going through it, all this? You and your young family and everything.
Yeah, it's definitely been a completely challenging at times, but also inspiring, experience to be able to witness the changes that are happening in the world. And while I do support the whole belief, the understanding that we should definitely still make sure that our history is known. You know, I think that the way that things can happen, and that's what I'm holding space for, is that we celebrate those who have overcome all those challenges and not celebrate the ones who challenged and did all those destructive, terrible things, you know? So I think that while the statues, you know, have been symbolic of these, you know, whitewashing history, you know, and I'm really glad to see that our history might actually become more known for what the truth really was. And I think that's what we're holding space for, is truth coming through. Truth needs to be told. Truth needs to be the most important thing here. But I also find that, you know, being completely open and honest right now with everyone, I was a very opinionated person, you know, for most of my life. And this whole experience in the world has helped me to be able to lose opinions about everything, you know. I find that I can't even form an opinion anymore because things are changing so rapidly, you know, so I'm losing my ability. I just flow with it now. I'm like, okay, this is what's happening in the world now. That's what it is. You know, no opinions, no trying to figure out anything else, just letting it be what it is. So that's been, I think, the biggest evolution of, you know, and of course the anxiety is something that I work through a lot, the collective anxiety. So trying to find different ways to ground and lots of showers and baths and, you know, spending time in nature, things like that. So
Yes, that's the key. Spending time in nature is so
Yeah.
helpful.
Exactly. It's the only constant, you know?
That's why I wanted you guys to talk first, because I actually wanted to, because what Beck said is actually what I feel too. I feel like, you know, no fear, because you just get into a state of no fear when, at least I do, when I'm in my highest state, there is just no fear, because you don't, there's nothing to fear. And the other thing is like you said, is yeah, it's exciting too. When I'm in that frame of mind or whatever, or vibration, because it is, you know, something drastic has to happen for something dramatic to happen too, right? Positively. So it's kind of like the beginning of maybe something good. So
I think a good piece in all this is that there's a lot of people that normally would stay hidden away and closed off and like whatever, let the crazy people be crazy, but people are being forced to come out and engage. And I feel like this is something that's really a helpful, a transformative force. Because normally people that would stay isolated are, you know what I mean? They can't talk anymore. They can't not share. They can't not show up. It's like something that betrays their spirit if they don't show up. So this, I feel like, a really good thing for us, because so many of us are isolated or just in our little groups of people, and we don't really branch out to others who are different, you know. And now we're being drawn to do that. We're being, we're going across the aisle and reaching out. So
and you know what?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. And you know what? I mean, I've noticed, you know, like just talking to people, because, you know, you talk to people and obviously on the streets or whatever. I noticed a lot more people than I think. They're saying we're watching, and people are paying attention. People who normally wouldn't say anything or just on the fence or whatever. People are like, paying attention, and that's good.
Exactly. And people are questioning more too.
Yeah. Like for instance, I was in my health food store picking up some stuff about a week ago, actually BC's really good. We haven't, I may be wrong, but I don't think we've had anybody die in British Columbia for like 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
But anyway, when it was kind of like at its peak, I was at my health food store, and they wouldn't let me walk in with my friend, right? And I don't know, I was just in one of those, because he wanted to show me what he was recommending something to me. So I didn't really know what so anyway, but I got a little snippy, but not bad, not too bad. But anyway, then I apologized, and then I said, but we started talking, and she said, don't worry, said really quietly and whispered kind of, we're paying attention, and some other guy did too. We're watching. So people are aware, right? So. Which is good.
Right? So many people are waking up to the mass confusion that's going on. It's helping them to see things that they might have not noticed and seen before. And so I want to bring this back around to the Sasquatch Nation or tribe, or clan, who's been making it through all these centuries. Like I read an article this morning about at the time that Julius Caesar was being, betrayed and killed by Brutus, was also the same thing going on Cleopatra was trying to make Egypt great again. And so many things were going on, but what really took them out was a volcano happening way in what would become Alaska. That was giving them a mini ice age that brought about famine and everything. So in the end, nature wins. And so let's get back to, I want to hear some of the calming messages that the Sasquatch would have for us. You know, what does it mean to really love your brother and sister, to understand and things? And so, Brian, from your walk with them, you've got the glyphs, you've got the structures. What messages have you gotten from Sasquatch that really help you to be a better person, that would help our audience touch their hearts?
Well, I had that thing a couple days ago. It was kind of like the Love Zap part 2, right? Like, but the, you know, the message from them is, you know, basically it's really simple. We're all connected. We're all one. And they're on a vibration of no judgment or whatever. And it's also an all-knowing kind of thing, you know, like you just kind of, when I was there, I kind of had an all-knowing, and it was just like connection to everything. And it's just, that's why they're here to introduce us, to try to reintroduce us to who we really are, our authentic selves, right? So their message is, you know, like, go in your heart space, raise your vibration, and that's how the change is going to happen, right? That's how, I think, anyway, I've always said that's how the conscious shift or changes are going to happen, by people doing their own work, because you can't drag somebody along without them doing their work and say, okay, well, you're here now, so there you go. You've got to kind of do it yourself, right?
Absolutely.
That's the universal law, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think the Sasquatch are just, basically, they're just showing us a lot of love and giving us a lot of strength, and and supporting in every way.
And Christina, same about the oneness and things. What do you feel you've learned from Sasquatch?
Well, that's something that I have an entire academy based on the work that I've done with Sasquatch. I can't but I want to dovetail on some things that Brian talked about, right? So when they say we're interconnected, people say, okay, you're interconnected. Oh, yeah, we know that. But you really, when you unpack that, there's a lot of ramifications that humans don't realize. Number one is, no matter who you are and how you are going to impact your reality, okay? No matter what. So like that, but also that no matter what, you are going to get impacted by what other people are doing in their reality. Okay, so when you unpack that and look at the truth of this in the human experience and interactions, it's like that also ups our level of responsibility. Yeah. So those kinds of, so that's the Sasquatch are able to hold space for us, because that is the truth, the biggest truth that they are. And as you guys as healers, you know, the kind of space you hold absolutely impacts the people you're holding space for, right? So they're holding space for us while we sort this out. And if we ask for help and guidance, their response is yes, because you are not alone. And when you're in a time of turmoil and suffering, oh my gosh, I cry again, all kinds of like this, and they can bring that presence, like, you are not alone. It just soothes your heart. You're not alone. Mm-hmm. So
I had my crying a few days ago.
Yeah, well, you know, the energy's been really crazy. So my way of managing it is just let my emotional field just be in free flow. Way. There's no way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to be it. Just flow with it.
Yeah, just go with it. And so in the SAS, they're very responsive to that. There is no right, wrong feeling. There is no right, wrong being. It's about honoring what is inside of you, because that's what is up. That's what's there. And to tell anybody that they're wrong for this feeling or they're wrong for that feeling, it's dishonoring them and their space and their experience. So humans, that's a new concept for humans. Humans, you need to be politically correct. Don't say mean things. Don't do this. Don't do that. We have all this list, and nowhere in that do they teach us how to be authentically ourselves in our bringing. And
Exactly.
are like, listen, you know, who you are on an authentic level, your true nature belongs here. You know, it belongs here. We want this here. The universe, the earth wants your authentic nature to be present and walking on this plane. And unfortunately, you know, most humans, that's not something that comes naturally. You have to be taught because we're trained to be different than that, you know? So the SAS have different levels of messages for different people where you're at, because like I said, there's no wrong or anything like that. And a lot of people who have been communicating with SAS and other beings, you know, maybe aren't having so much communication right now. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, they're having a series of choice points that they need to be making those choices independently, free from the influence of other beings. They need to really, you know, reach the truth on their own. And the SAS gave me a dream where it was like humanity was in a giant boat, you know, and everybody's hugging, and the boat is like into the future, like where we're going, like this, and they're saying their goodbyes, like we'll see you on the other side.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
But these choice points are important. You're not getting abandoned. You have been taught, those of us who've been in really close communications with Sasquatch, we've been taught, we've been given examples, we've been opened up, we've been reinformed. You know what I mean? Done all that they can do, and now it's time. They're mwah, mwah, you know.
Yeah, it's time to fly. Put you at the nest.
Grow up as adults. You just have to trust that you've done what you've done your job, right? So.
You know what Christina said about being responsible for your thoughts. Yeah, because we are all connected. So really, we are, because we affect thoughts and everything are all energy. We affect everything in some way with our thoughts, our actions, whatever. And I mean, when you know, I've had a couple experiences where I've actually, like I said, felt that connection to everything and whatever. And I could feel the emotion of everything. One time, you know, like a few days ago, I feel emotion of everything. The thought, it was kind of like, whatever, but it's just, it just proved to me, basically, in a nutshell, that we are all connected, because, I just knew, because I felt like my heart expanded and it was part of the whole universe, and I could feel everything and the connection to everything. So, you know, they've shown me in so many different ways that we're connected. So yeah, being responsible for your thoughts and that is like so crucial, like Christina said. Yeah. It's really, you know, the stuff that they have shown Christina and I and other people is just like of such universal proportions, and it's just like such a gift and a blessing, and it's just like wow, it's just like, oh man, I'm just tingling when I'm saying that too. I'm sorry, but that happens every time. You know, it's funny when with myself, like they connect with me through energy a lot, and so they give me an energy confirmation, and when I really am talking about something they really want me to talk about, real important point, they give me this big energy buzz and love kind of thing. So and that's a good barometer as to if I'm speaking the truth or whatever too, right? But
yeah, that's cool.
Which they don't really, when you're connected to them and you're talking about them and stuff like that, they don't really let you veer off the truth anyway, but it's still a nice confirmation, right?
Validation for sure. I love that.
Yeah, validation, confirmation. Yeah.
So
yeah, well, what you're saying, Ryan, there, I just want just to dovetail a little bit when it says not letting.
You're the dovetail queen.
Hey, you know.
You're just copying me.
Well, there's a fine-tuned piece in here. This because it relates to the space holding that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't let you do anything. It's just that the space that they hold has so much integrity that it's very easy just to stay in the flow of what you're there to do. You know, that's what I want to add to what you said. And you know, they're not the only beings reaching out to humanity. There's many other beings are similar but different, right?
Right.
And you know, this piece, as long as truth and authenticity in your spirit is alive and you're honoring it in your on a daily basis, the SAS are like, they are so accessible. It's like a thought, and they can be there like that, you know. But if you're still learning the difference between what you think is and what really is, then, you know, the communication won't be so immediate. You know, there's some other things, because a lot of times we're reaching from up here because we think we're this, you know, but versus if you're putting a heart call, reaching out like that, then it's an instantaneous connection. At least, you know, for me and the people in my group, you know, it's like that. It's so we have a lot of help navigating, and all this strife that's happening. Really, this is all most of this is just, you know, thoughts, emotions, fourth dimensional field. It's so humans can understand how to navigate who they are in that fourth dimensional level, right? And there's people who have already are figuring that out and are peeking their head up into the 5D, 6D kind of levels, and then there's yet another piece of learning how to navigate as a human being in this, you know, ocean of people, ocean of life. You know, they're really, and to keep, how do I say this? In the process of navigating these different levels, you learn just how lies you have been living. You know, everything that you've been told is a lie. It's shocking. People like are shocked, like, go on, right? There was someone that was talking about, real quick, someone was talking about, I think it was the Jesus statues. Yeah, Brian, we talked about this a little bit too. But there was a much bigger conversation. People were like, oh, so upset. How can they do this to Jesus? And I'm like, you guys do realize Christianity has killed more people over the past 800 years than any other religion on this planet.
Exactly.
And that some people, it just completely rocked them. They were so shattered. Like, how can that be? Now, all you have to do is like piss, Wikipedia, and just show the different movements that were happening. You know, you have the Crusades, you have the Inquisition, you have the assimilation of the indigenous. I mean, it's a list, a long list. And they were shattered. It was completely shattering that to have that information. Which, you know, in one level, you can say that I'm being really negative, but on another level, you can realize that that person just got awoke, right? So this is why that good, bad thing doesn't quite qualify when you're coming from a different place with stuff, you know? For all the star seeds out there, and you guys, you know, intuitively, we're called to do things that might cause a ripple effect of, you know, shock, negativity, stuff like this, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just waking people up to another level of responsibility. It's like, what do you want? I mean, maybe you should take back the message of Jesus, take it back from the Christian church and live the true path, which a lot of people do. And this is where you get the teaching and stuff like this. So, you know, this is a really amazing time for humanity to wake up to really what's happening and choose and really have an informed choice on where they want to go and what they want to do.
Absolutely.
You know, on my show yesterday, and hopefully it loads, I'm on pins and needles. I spent all day on it. But if it does, I had a guy on there who's actually talked to Jesus and whatever and stuff. And, you know, he basically told them exactly what I thought. Like, yeah, you guys are not misrepresenting my words. You know, what I said and whatever is not what your religions are saying is not what I said. And, you know, even when I was a kid, I mean, like, I don't have anything wrong against Jesus. I have a love for Jesus. And you know, the Sasquatch and all these great teachers, but you know, when you let man get involved in stuff, you know, and greed and control and everything comes into it, like going to hell, which I think is you know, a fear-based control thing. You know, you're gonna perverse the truth, right?
Absolutely.
And I you know, it's nothing against Jesus. It's against you know, the people who are misrepresenting him, in my opinion. And I know I've offended about half the world doing that, but
but yeah, if a person so sincerely loves Jesus as they want, wouldn't they really want to emulate what he brought and not just what the churches have done as overlords or you know what I mean? There's so much to know, and I see them because, you know, I live in the Bible Belt and I got pastor next door to me. I see the sincerity. I see all the work that they give in helping each other. And that's beautiful. This is what we need. It's beautiful. But let's get to the true Christ and not just what's being said. You know, the things that we've been taught that are not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my teachers was Barbara Handclough. She used to facilitate these 9-dimensional experiences every summer at Lilydale, New York. And I don't know if you guys know her background, aside from being a Cherokee record keeper and different things. In school, her thesis was on early religions. And she talked about how the New Testament and the Old Testament are actually completely different gods. And they just dovetailed the message of Jesus on the message of Yahweh, which promoted going to war for God, right? Killing for God, doing terrible things, doing things like this for God. And then dovetailed Jesus's teachings in the New Testament on that and presented that. And it's a total misrepresentation of the true message, because I don't know if you guys, all right, I come from a long line of Presbyterian ministers, my grandmother's side, and so I got a lot of different, angles to all this.
You got stuff going on in your head, all like coming in from all over. Jeez.
Well, I was exposed to a lot when I was young. It's amazing, but
and an army brat too, right? That must have been another kind of thing going on. I mean, all that stuff is like, what the heck? It's all like all lies.
Yeah, I definitely believe I've lived many, many lives in just this one lifetime. I don't even feel like I'm even the same person that originally was birthed into this world, So, getting back to the thought, so that they're completely different messages, completely different philosophies tied together in one book, which further encapsulated energetically the conflict within humanity. So it actually, putting those two together and putting those pieces into practice, you're actually developing deeper inner conflict. Mm-hmm. You see, and once you have humans carrying around conflict inside, it's only a matter of time before it's all around them, right? Exactly. Like that. Yeah. So she has a lot of really interesting takes on that particular religion, and she also talked about Judaism and Islam and Christianity. That Old Testament, the Torah and Quran, they're all the original. They're all the same books, messages. They're all Yahweh. So I found that pretty interesting, considering those are the 3 most warring religions on this planet. Mm-hmm. 3 of them. I mean, look at Palestine and Israel. They've been going at it for quite some time, and they used to live in peace before Israel was founded. Those 3 religions. All right, so we don't need to keep going down religion path, but I just wanted to throw that in there. It's just subtle pieces, when they get put together and they're not the truth, they have an impact. When you're told something that's not the truth, it really does have a deep impact on us as humans. Okay, so this matrix of lies that have been anchored into that 4D is moving, it's shifting, it's growing, a lot of it's shedding, and now we're left with picking up the pieces and having the realizations we need to make so we can carry on in a different way. Mm-hmm. I swear, when I woke up, it was so shocking, because I realized, like, everything that I've ever thought how reality was is totally backwards.
Yep. Wow. Absolutely.
You mean when you woke up this morning, or?
No, when I woke up to my multidimensional self.
Oh, of course.
So Barbara has a really wonderful system. Back then, it was like you first wake up to the planetary mind, you wake up to the galactic mind, and then you to beyond the cosmic mind and who you are on all those levels. And each one of those awakenings brings a little bit of a crisis. and for people, you realize, oh my gosh, I made all these, I thought this was how it was, and this is not how it is at all. So by back up to universal levels, you're in that state where Bex was talking about, you're just best not even having opinion about anything, just being with it, because everything can shift so quickly with a thought. Everything shifts, especially now. What you think is based on experience, conditioning, and information. And considering that most of that conditioning and information isn't even the truth, right? Like, oh, well, it's absolutely ridiculous for me to have this thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so while everything looks chaotic, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, well, everything looks chaotic. It's just a purging of the collective wounds, of all the lies that we've been fed from the beginning of, civilization. and beginning of the control. And it's been, financial, it's been religion, it's been race, it's been sexuality, it's been all these different things. Every single fear that humanity has is being poked at right now, ripped open for humanity to look at and say, okay, this is where we've been allowed to, we've allowed ourselves to be controlled. And this is where we have to really dig in, accept that, we're in physical form for a temporary time. Our souls are infinite. We're never going to stop, we're never going to cease to exist. But in our role right now is the unveiling of all those lies, is the unveiling of the truth, is being able to pull back those layers.
I just want I know we're not talking about Jesus anymore, but I want to dovetail a point that Christina made. Yeah, I got the dovetail in there.
I'm catchy.
I mean, yes, Jesus is no less an ascended master. I mean, I have a love for him, but like I said, his message has been perverted. But the thing is in my opinion, that the sad thing is that Christians, they think he is the only guy. If they hear any other evidence of universal love or knowing about it, they always look at it as from a demonic source or something, because it's not from Jesus, right? And I think that that box is really limiting them from growing, because there's more teachers out there than Jesus. And for instance, I know a friend that I went out in the woods with all the time, and he would not accept the spiritual, the bizarre stuff, because he thought that's not of Christ, that's demonic. So he was really missing out something that he might have been able to pick up on and been taught and enhance his life, because his box of beliefs will not extend outside of that box of beliefs. So I think that's sad.
Well, it's the fear, of what happens if he lets go of his beliefs. Who is he? It's that whole identity crisis that humanity is going through right now as well. If we stop believing in the things that we've been taught to believe our whole lives, what are we after that?
What do we? Yeah.
Yes. What are we? There's a really great question that Rhonda Elliott.
I like that. Let's go ahead. There.
Yeah, go ahead.
There
do you want me to read it or?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a Sasquatch question, connection between, the question is about the Sasquatch people beings and the beings from the galactic. I thought that was a cool question.
Yeah, what is that connection?
Yeah. It's okay if I just go ahead and dive in?
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So the SAS. So one of the things about the SAS is that they've never lost the connection to the galactic mind, to the cosmic mind, to the true intention, the original intention of life here on this planet. So they're part of the original blueprint. So all the twisting and backward stuff that humanity has been living, they haven't had that experience. There are some. So they are highly psychic in their home planet. They have a home planet that's not in the solar ring that they come from, and because of that, it lends. Well, we just can easily connect the dots that they are part of a galactic community. They have never lost their galactic citizenship. So and that's part of what they're helping humans, and so are many other beings, is to reclaim our galactic citizenship as galactic beings, which means we have relationships with beings from other planets, other solar systems, interdimensional beings. We have, our natural nature is meant to be in relationship with that kind of stuff. That question, that's what makes me think about, that's what this, something else that the Sasquatch are emulating for us, and what does it look like to be in a community with beings like this? And something that's a bit of mind blower, guys. There's a lot of beings that we call ETs that actually have been living here on this planet longer than humans.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. It's a bit mind blowing, but then you realize, oh my gosh, just how twisted everything has been in our stories.
Well, we're the ETs too, so let's just take that out of the box and unpack that. Hello.
Yes.
We are the ETs.
When I used to work with the Quero, this is an indigenous tribes in South America, high Andes Mountains, are in between Bolivia and Peru, and they would call white people star people, or the people, and it was kind of strange that they would say that, but it was indicating that our genome, our genes, what makes a white human, that came from star people that wasn't originally here. And according to that information, the only ones that are original to planet Earth are the Africans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and everybody else is, well, at one time was an invader.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing about Mother Nature and Pachamama. She integrates everything and everybody. Everything and everybody has a place in nature. Mm-hmm. So it may start off as an invasion, but eventually becomes incorporation. Like she incorporates who they are into the ecosystem, and they have a place to be. So in that that epitaph that's on the Statue of Liberty, bring me your poor. This is the God. This is the Pachamama. I don't want to say goddess because there's a lot of dogma with that, but this is the true sentiment of Mother Earth. She opens her arms for all life to come and find its place here, because it has a home like this. It's something that maybe we don't remember because we have that story of being kicked out of the garden, but everybody belongs here. And if you're a newcomer, you belong here. You have a place.
Yeah. Basically, I think you just basically said that too. But basically, yeah, they want to bring us back up to the galactic family again. Reintroduce us to who our true nature, our true self. Sasquatch and the Star Nation. That's the connection, because they're different messengers, but they're all basically giving the same message. Trying to wake us up to who we really are again. So, in a nutshell.
So I have another question then for all of you.
Actually, I saw Laurel had a question for Christina, but it went away.
Laurel has a good question. Let's go with Laurel's question first.
Because Laurel's my sister, so I'm sticking up for her.
I love that. So, Christina, would you speak to SAS wanting us to realize our multidimensional selves and capabilities, as well as the fact that they can be a gateway to our connections with other beings and our relationships with nature?
Yeah, well, I think she answered a lot of that question in her. Thank you, Laurel. Right, so our multidimensional nature, and this is like the awakening, the story that Brian shared before we got on. So the Sasquatch are here to help us remember who we are as multidimensional beings. And that means that the galactic mind, the cosmic mind, and all those levels of who you are integrated and are right here, right now, in every moment and every day. It's not just when you're meditating. It's not just when you're in ceremony. You are fully in your presence every moment. They're helping us with that. But people think that is very out there in the cosmos and in space, but it's not. It's very, very grounded, because the more you become activated, the more you recognize your connection with nature and nature spirits and all the realms within realms. So it's not an escape thing, get out of the human experience. It's a deepening thing, and really claim your human experience. You belong here. You're part of nature. Nature loves you. Right? When you guys feel this when you walk and when you, and I mean, it's so instantaneous. There's times when I'll sit on my patio and there'll be no birds. There's some birds around here, songbirds around here. I just love to listen to, and there'll be no birds. There'll be nothing at all. And I'll just go into my heartbeat, and it's similar to that meditation I shared last time, and just smile, and I'll think about the birds, and then all in stereo, I'm hearing the birds. It's that. So what the SAS are showing us is that nature has a capacity that is beyond anything we ever thought or imagined to be, and we are the magicians. We're the magicians who work with that capacity, but we have to be in our authentic nature, our multidimensional nature, in order to do that, So this is, their portal systems, all their different ways in which they work with the natural world. They're all examples for us. We can be doing that too, once we're awakened and really embracing who we are as multidimensional beings.
Yeah, I love that.
Can I share a funny little story that happened yesterday? It's really cute, but it also speaks to how they're always with us, always supportive. Like, I've had so many experiences where, like when my mother died, they left lifts outside, right outside my door for 2 days, and pointing directly to their home, and it was like, that's just such a beautiful, heartfelt thing. I mean, but they're always with us and aware, and they're also really funny. They also do really funny stuff. So I was doing my crazy little pork and bean show yesterday. I was taping it, right? And, you know, with the border thing, I don't get to see Sue so much. So she was missing me and had me on her mind. And she thought for some reason the show was only going to be an hour, but it was like 3 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's thinking about me and wondering where is he and stuff. So and this is the thing, like she has a camp chair that she has outside her door, and it's like material or whatever. So there was really no reason that I could think of for her to go out and turn it over to get the water off, because I'm not going to hurt anything. But see, so I think that was by design too, because they'll put a thought in your head and you'll do something because they want you to find out what they have in store for you. So anyway, so she's thinking about me and where's Brian or whatever. And my show's called the Pork and Bean Show, right? Because I'm, you know, because it just sounds stupid and I like that. That's the way I roll. So anyway, so you know, for some reason, which is not a coincidence, I don't believe it's a coincidence, she went outside her door and turned her camp chair over and you know, to get the water off of it. And about 10 minutes later, she went outside again. Well, I don't know why she went outside, but on the chair were two little pieces of pork placed on the chair. Okay, 2 little pieces of fresh pork. You know, Pork and Bean Show pork. She's thinking about me, and so she's all excited. So she goes inside and writes up a little report on it, or whatever, or a little article or post. And you know, less than 2 minutes later, she's looking outside again, and the pork on the chair is being moved. Like they moved the position of it, and yeah, that's the only explanation. It wasn't like anybody did it. They did it. I mean, they're constantly leaving stuff at her place and stuff. So they're always, my point is that they're always with you, always aware of you, and always supportive, and just really, really loving and funny, and funny too.
I love it.
They are absolutely funny.
We have a question from Amber, and then I was going to have another question to kind of wrap it up, and I wanted to hear from everyone. But first, let's address Amber's question. Are the Sasquatch in physical form or spiritual? It kind of depends, right?
Different tribes have different preferences in my experience. Yeah. Some regions they're more physical, in other regions they don't prefer that form, and some go out. That's my experience. How about you, Brian?
I've seen them in about 5, maybe 7 or 8 different forms. You know, from like completely invisible, which I guess technically you can't see them, to fully materialized, to like a predator, like a shadow person, but a shadow person that's just almost fully materialized. Sue saw one guy running by, and you could see his trail of energy, like it was like a memory of him running by, going by. And like I said, the predator thing, where they're shimmery and watery and stuff. And I saw them actually walking around me on the beach, way out in the woods. They were all walking around me in predator. So, yeah, there's a bunch of different. Yeah, they're like. Well, you see, their understanding of energy and whatever is that's what it is too. I mean, they just can have a thought, and they're there. That's how they can be in your room, or appear in your room, or place a glyph of support 300 miles away from where you live or whatever, because they just have to project a thought, and they're there basically. So yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a story for this, because humans have that ability too, but we don't think that that's a normal human ability, but it really is. When I was younger, I used to have medicine men that would materialize in my room, you know, and stuff like this, very similarly to how the Sass would. It's like when they're in close proximity, it's a little bit different, but but it's like they materialize, but you can still kind of see through them. They're like translucent, you know? And so the Sass aren't the only ones that do this. And that whole thing with the thought, they impulse you with their thoughts. There's many other beings that do this as well. And I feel like I really want to mention this for everybody, because there's a lot of people that have this connection. The Pleiadians do this too, and so do the Syrians. So those 2 star nations use the same kind of I don't know, techniques. I don't know what you call it. Yeah, to interact with humanity and inspire us to do things. So
And they have another advantage too, because time is not real for them like it is for us. They can go and put something in your past, but to them, it's not the past. They know you're going to come to the realization 5 years down the road of what they put there. I mean, it's just like,
Yeah.
they could like put a breadcrumb trail of teachings in your trail, and you just walk into it in our timeline, our 3D timeline. But for them, they don't have those restrictions. So they really have, as teachers, have a huge advantage that way. And that's a fact, because I've had experienced that so many times. It's just like, yeah, right, Christina. And you, I don't know how they are with you, but it's like they hit you over the head with a hammer when they really want you to get something. They don't leave any doubt. It's really, right?
Yeah.
They bring the point home, like,
Yeah.
however long it takes, or however it takes, or
yeah, very, very patient. They're very patient. I have to say that I'm sensitive and fine-tuned enough where I don't need the cinder blocks anymore, or the hammer. That got old for me real quick. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make sure I pay attention and listen more better.
I'm still a hammer guy. No, I'm just joking. But I'm just saying that they really don't leave any doubt. Basically, yeah.
I love, but that thing about the time, that is really something that is so actually, it's really liberating for a human to experience, because then you can recognize that that this time is all a perception. It's not actually really how it is.
Yeah.
When as my relationship with them, it's like, as that happened, I was awakening to memories that would happen way back, like 20, 30, 40 years ago. And all of a sudden now it makes sense. And I realized, oh, it was them the whole time, but was like that kind of thing would happen. But it's really a brilliant way to work, because it's showing us that that's our capacity too, capacity to shift things like that.
Oh, I just noticed, this is from Tammy Lee Schumacher.
Yeah.
I get to read this one, okay? I just noticed, why is nobody asked me any question. Nobody loves me. Oh, well, it's all for Christina. Anyway, Tammy Lee Schumacher says, I just noticed that the ringing that is continuous in my ears has decreased as I am here with you all listening. Do you know why that is, Christina?
Oh, okay. Well, there's lots of reasons for the tinnitus. Okay, for those of you that have a lot of tinnitus, I have 2 videos on YouTube that go deeper into this, but to summarize, so when you're having multidimensional experiences, very often it comes across as pressure, vertigo, or ringing in the ears. Okay, so when Sasquatch come into your field, you might have some ringing in the ears, and also there's tone that are strong enough to actually pull you out of this reality and take you into other realities. So this thing with the ears is a really a common trait, a milestone, or trait, or no, it's signpost. That's what I'm reaching for. So with the coming of the 5G stuff being launched in our atmosphere, there's like a whole nother level of tinnitus that a lot of sensitives are experiencing right now. So what I've noticed, and this is the feedback in the group, they've put this into practice, it's worked, is that the more plugged in you are to non-organic, we'll say artificial frequencies, the more engaged you are with artificial frequencies, the more tinnitus you're going to get, the more this is going to build. And by simply unplugging from those pieces and going back to the natural rhythms, that will help a lot with easing the tinnitus and the pain and ringing in the ears. It all depends on what it is. And I talk about this much more in those videos, because there's an unfoldment of understanding that has to happen. But in the gist, your heartbeat, the rhythms of your body can offer you a rhythm to cancel out some of the, because it's a sound wave, it's a frequency wave that causes this. You can actually pull your attention to a frequency within the body, and it will meet the frequency that's coming in, that's being received on this, and it will cancel it out. So you can, a lot of the ringing and tinnitus that's a result of communications from interdimensional, extradimensional beings can be mitigated that way. The technology piece is a little bit different, which is why there's a part 2.
Very cool.
Why listening to us did it decrease for her, though? Isn't that what she asked? Did you answer that? She says it's decreased when she's listening to us. What is it about?
Because we're heart-centered people. Remember, space. The space you hold has an impact. We're connected to everybody, and everybody's connected.
Oh, okay.
They're tuning into us. So I know Tammy. Tammy is a psychic intuitive, and I mean, just by listening to us, she's tuning into us, and we're just reminding her on a subconscious level. We're not doing it with our ego, reminding her. We're just being, and she's like, and her subconscious is like, oh yeah, I'm there. Things happen when you're clear inside, things happen very quickly. It is a process. It's just a matter of shifting your attention from one place to another.
Right. Dropping the resistance.
Yeah.
Dropping the resistance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that resistance. What is that resistance? It's very often what we think is, right? Our opinions are, emotional charge.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, I have a question, but you have to tell me if you're ready to talk about that. Are you ready to talk about what was keeping you awake the last 2 nights in about 5 minutes? Because we're going on 55 minutes here. Would you like to talk about that?
You know what? When we got over the 40-minute mark, I was thinking, oh, she loves us. They love us. Because you only normally go 40 minutes.
Gong.
Yeah, the big. Remember the Gong Show?
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. Yeah, if they didn't like you, we'd gong you. No.
Right.
The big hook comes out, and I can't even do the thing because I'm frozen up. But my head, I was visualizing the hook coming up in my head, going off the screen.
yeah. So, what would you like to talk about that?
Well, it was kind of like
interesting.
It was kind of like the Love Zap, which is something. Part 2, but I can't get into that. But anyway, it was about I was laying in bed, and I got this. It was almost like a physical feeling, but it was also, I don't know. I felt it. I was just living it, kind of thing. And it was like it was physical, and I don't know. It's really hard to explain. Some of these things are like when they're new. It's hard to put words to them. But I could feel and experience my heart opening up and going out, and it encompassed the entire universe. And then I felt like the connection to the entire universe, and it was like I could feel everybody's love and emotions. It was like they say, when you're on the other side, you could feel and experience everything. It was like I knew everything, and I could think about a friend or whatever, and I could feel I could just feel their love or their essence or whatever. And so I was there, one with the universe, with my heart. And, with this Black Lives Matter thing and whatever stuff, and all the sadness going on in the world, which is probably actually, if you look at it from another perspective, it's probably actually a joyous thing too, if we come out on the other side better. But I lost a couple of friends on Facebook because I got a little bit I got too emotional about it. I wouldn't say I was a jerk or anything, but it was just like, it's a touchy subject, right? So a couple of my friends dropped me on Facebook, and so when I was on that other side, I was weeping or whatever, because I felt like the loss of those 2 people, because you're part of this whole collective, and now you're not with me, you're gone. And I kind of felt their pain or whatever. A lot, it was their pain, not like it was a huge thing for them, but I just felt the loss. And that was really, it just talked about connection, right? Like we're talking about how we're all connected. That was a huge lesson for me about that, because I felt the loss of those 2 people. Like, you're not with me anymore. And then the other thing was, I love the Sasquatch. Like, I mean, they bring me, I can start weeping with the love that they give me. I mean, just literally, like I've done this, I did the other day. But they were standing beside me, but they were also like, I wasn't like giving them all the credit. They were letting me walk in my own light. Like, I was walking in my own light. It was like I was taking responsibility for myself, and kind of like maybe growing up a little bit, I guess, spiritually or something. And there's more, but then the other interesting thing is that, and I looked at this part as if this is something that I can develop and maybe I can work on. But I was laying there with my eyes closed, and I started like was almost like I was seeing a dream behind my eyes, like just by thinking about it.
Mm.
And I think about like Sasquatch, and I saw a couple of Sasquatch faces, and then all these different little animals, things and everything came up. And then I saw a train going through the mountains in the Rocky Mountains, probably in Alberta or something. And then I realized, wait a minute, if I'm thinking about something, I'm seeing it. Like I was creating it right away, like kind of thing. So, but you know, it's something I'm going to have to work on, I guess. But it was like a brand new kind of like, wow, I'm capable of this kind of thing. So, but basically it was, you know, but the main thing is it was a huge lesson again about connection and oneness. I mean, when my heart went out there and I felt everything or whatever, that just told me, like I've had so many other times, lessons, that we're all one and all connected. And it's just like a powerful, beautiful lesson. And it's just like, you know, it's right there. So it was exciting. Yeah.
So I have one more question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, so I actually haven't really even slept for 2 days because I'm just so charged.
Yeah. Yeah, we can see that. It's shining. But I had just one question.
I'm up, I thought.
Well, yeah, but your energy, not your face, your energy.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
I forgot.
one last question as we wrap it up, mostly because I have to go pee so bad. But our last question to take us out, and I'm going to ask each of you the same thing. Seeing that this is where we've got to man up. This is where we got to start taking responsibility individually and as a race. Name a sentence. Just give us a sentence of what is next. What is our next steps? So, Brian, what do you think our next step is right now? In one sentence or two.
Why do you always start with me?
You want to go second? I'll ask Christina.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Christina.
I want to steal all her stuff.
You. Okay.
He wants to dovetail this time.
Yeah. So, Christina, what do you see as our next step, kind of individually and collectively, as we're going through this, knowing that they're on the other side cheering us on? What is it?
Disclosure.
Disclosure. Yeah. Yep.
And it's like how I'm talking about that. There are many beings that are of this planet that aren't human, but they're sentient, intelligent beings, multidimensional beings that most of humanity doesn't know about, and we're going to wake up to that. We're going to wake up to those pieces. It's a grassroots movement. It's not it's more than a sentence. Sorry.
It's all right. Go ahead.
All right, so I can sum it up with grassroots disclosure.
I love that. And I've heard the disclosure doesn't necessarily mean it's coming from the government either. It's going to be coming from each and every one of us, sharing our experiences and taking it out there.
Exactly. It's you. It's you. Mm-hmm.
I think the next step is like what they're doing with so many of us is waking us up to our authentic self.
Yeah.
You know, to who we really are. That's what the next step is, because that's where the trend or the progression is going to happen, as far as because that's everything to me. You know, when we realize who we really are, things have to change. You just can't. You have to be changed, and it's a change. It's a change towards the universal knowing and the universal and coming back to the galactic family kind of thing. So.
Yes. That would be a great reunion. Bex, how about you? And Bex, and then you could take us out with the announcements.
Okay.
And stuff.
Well, you have to give an answer first then.
Take us out? Do I have to duck? You say take us out?
Yeah, are you guys ready? Bad news, Brian. No. Okay. Well, my opinion of what our next
I'm
step
ducking
is.
right now behind.
I kind of feel that, we need to authentically know who we are. We need to heal a lot of these wounds, whether they're shadows or collective wounds. And then, like you both are saying, we call in our family. We call in and see our place, who we really are, knowing our real history, knowing what's really there for us and what's in our future. This is all coming. So that's kind of, I see our next step is definitely expanding and opening up, you know. Bex.
Yeah. I mean, y'all took all the good answers, so you're not leaving me with much. But I'll try to come up with something. No, really. The first word that comes to mind is magic. This is an alchemy. We're in a major, global alchemy movement right now, where we're alchemizing everything that no longer serves into love. We're coming back to love. So, magic is happening. Tune into that magic that you had as a child. Let yourself connect with those beings that, in your adult years, you thought were just a distant memory, but they're always with you. It's letting yourself tune into the magic of life, the magic of actually being a multidimensional entity, essence, and it's longer than a sentence, but there you go.
Good.
All right, so I guess that is it for our show today. What an amazing topic and conversation. It went way beyond what I thought we were coming in with, so thank you guys for that. My takeaway from this, I think, is just to, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but seeing the SAS as a tour guide, master teacher, in being able to dive into awaken to our multidimensionality through our connection with nature and with all. That's kind of what I've gotten from talking with both of you today, which is an exciting understanding and an exciting understanding to be able to see how beautiful that connection is and how they really love us so much to show up for us, especially in this world that we're experiencing right now. So thank you so much for bringing that forth to us today and sharing that with our guests. With our audience. It's been really, really awesome. Appreciate it so much. And Brian, you may be frozen, but we can still see you. We know your presence is very much seen and felt and heard. So thank you for that. So we're going to talk about sharing it out, guys. Please share this out. You keep sharing it out for the next week if you want, because whoever shares it out the most, next week we will announce wins a reading with Rhonda, who is with us today in the comments because she enjoyed an amazing trip to Shasta this past week. And the winner of, not this past week, but the week before when we had Janelle Cameron's show, the winner of that Share It Out won a mini reading with me, and that is Kirith. So congratulations, Kirith. I will be contacting you to set that up. The winner of this last week's Share It Out is, I have it written down, hold on. Somewhere. There it is. Paul Boggy Brighton, Sifu Boggy, you won with Teresa. So congratulations, Sifu. That's going to be so much fun. We love you. And thank you guys all so much. Yeah.
What's his middle name? Boggy?
His name is, well, it's not his middle name. It's
Paul Boggy Brighton. He teaches us Qigong and Dragon
Qigong. That's a cool name.
Kinds of stuff.
That's a cool name.
He's a cool guy.
That's a cool name.
You gotta watch him.
Very cool guy.
He's got this amazing energy that you just gotta love.
Very high vibe, like very high energized too. You don't need caffeine when you watch him. He's a caffeine drink in itself.
Yes.
It's awesome.
He's clearing out that tar and bringing in the fresh air. The Qigong. It's amazing.
All right. Well, we love you guys so much, and we will connect with you all again next week. I don't know who we have for a guest next week.
I didn't see that we had one, but I had an idea. I'll tell you afterwards.
Too. Okay,
good.
I was thinking about putting Rhonda on the spot.
Let's
do that. Okay, let's gang up. Let's all of us wants to have Rhonda download her experience to Shasta with us next week. Raise your hand, and this is what we're going to do.
Good idea.
Yeah.
There you go, Rhonda. You're our guest next week and our co-host.
Let's do it. I love it. So,
all right.
I guess I got to hit these buttons.
The rock and roll question.
I didn't tell them that. Yeah, I didn't go because with both of them. Go ahead.
All right, guys. You both have to answer. You can decide who goes first. But if you had to choose a song, the theme song of your life right now, what would it be?
Oh my God. I'm like, music is like, SAS and music are my whole life, right? That's really hard. Let me think. What's my favorite song? Well,
right now.
You know what? I like that song, the song at the end of my Pork and Beans show, that Dave Davies, I'm Not Like Everybody Else. It's just a rock. It's just that guitar. He's a guitar god, right? I'm from that era, so yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
But from the Kicks, but it's the Dave Davies version because he really
Awesome choice.
I remember.
All right,
always
Christina.
the Kicks. Yeah.
On the spot.
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, because last time, it was crazy, but
Right.
If that's still what you vibe with, then go for it. It's your choice, whatever you vibe with.
well, what's interesting is I don't listen to regular music anymore. I've really gotten into DJs, and DJs are there's a lot of starseeds that are DJs, and they're woke to the 4-3-2 thing and music to that. So the one that I've been listening to is this Heart Opener, and it doesn't really have any words except for one, and it is something about we are galactic. We are.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, we are galactic lovers, loving through space and time.
I love that.
I've got a question for Christina.
Okay.
I want to know if this is normal or whatever. Like, truthfully, because because sometimes you take things for granted, and then you find out, well, wait a minute, that's unusual. It's not, you just think it's normal because you've never, you know what I mean. But anyway, sometimes when I'm listening to music, I can feel it like resonating inside of me, and it's just part of me, and it's just like it's just like, I guess it's the energy thing or whatever, but it's just like it's way more than just listening to it. Do you feel that too, or
yeah?
Do you feel like? Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry for the dumb comment.
No, it's not dumb. Well, I think what you're touching on, Brian, is what I was saying about the frequency that most music is recorded on. It's just very stimulating in thoughts, but when you're open up to these other levels, that that doesn't even hinder you. You can actually feel the music.
Yeah, vibrating right inside of you, like it's a part of you, like it's there dancing with you inside or something, I guess.
Yeah. So this is actually exactly why I started. I got hooked on the DJ stuff, because this isn't just a DJ standing at the table. There are hundreds or even thousands of people in a static dance to the music that's getting recorded at 432. So it's like listening to an amazing Dead show or something, like classic Dead show. There was like so much joy and love in it. That's what it feels like when I'm listening to it. So
yeah, that's cool. The vibe. Yeah. But I think also, that science has been able to prove, the effect that music has on water, and where we're mostly water, of course, we're going to feel it within our body in that way, because it's going to affect, our molecules in that way too. So yeah, it's a full ethereal, physical, everything experience.
That's one thing the Sasquatch teach you about is energy too. Like music, it's all energy. I mean, they're masters of it, so it makes sense, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, we do have to close out our show, or Teresa's bladder's going to burst. So we love you all very much.
You know what? Can I say? We almost made the record. If your bladder was a little stronger, we could have broke the record for the longest show ever.
Oh,
what are you gonna do when you're on my show? We go on for like 3 hours and stuff.
She'll need pee breaks. Pee breaks are important to her.
a little bucket.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just dehydrate before the show or something. When I go to concerts, I dehydrate that day, so I don't have
dehydrate. That's
so
bad.
Often. I know, but it's like. But this has been fun. Yeah, my eyeballs. Yeah. So this has been fun, everybody. We got to get together again, because I really feel that the collective benefits when we all share from our hearts like this, and we share it with each other and see, So I'm going to close this out, and then we will have Rhonda next week. And Rhonda, you start thinking about your rock and roll question, and we'll see you all then. Thank you, Christina. Yes. Thank you, Brian Bland.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
I love you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Love you all. Have a blessed week. Yes.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah.
Bye.